Salut tout le monde, hi everyone. Let me teach you 10 essential expressions with the verb avoir that you must absolutely know. So stick around and let's start. The first expression on our list is avoir chaud. Avoir chaud. To be hot. So note that here we're not talking about the weather or an object. We're talking about people only. Okay? For example, j'ai chaud. J'ai chaud. I'm hot. J'ai chaud. So, as you can see in French, we don't say I am hot, literally. We say I have hot. And the difference is very important. Because if you say I'm hot, literally in French, je suis chaud, that would mean something totally different. And more specifically, it will mean, best case scenario, I'm up for it. And worst case scenario, it will mean I'm horny. So don't make that mistake again. And if you are actually hot, you want to say j'ai chaud. Alright, so to be safe, keep that one in mind. And let's move on to the next one. This expression is avoir froid. Avoir froid. To be cold. So again, in French, we don't say I am cold. We literally say I have cold. Right, let me give you an example. En hiver, ils ont froid. En hiver, ils ont froid. In the winter, they are cold. You see, very easy. So the next expression is avoir X ans. Avoir X ans. To be X years old. So again, here, as you can see, in French, we don't say I'm 20 years old. We say I have 20 years. Literally. For example, j'ai 20 ans. J'ai 20 ans. And what about you? Vous avez quel âge? Vous avez quel âge? How old are you? Let me know in the comments how old you are, in French, of course, and tell me why you decided to learn French now. All right, moving on to expression number 4, avoir faim. Avoir faim. To be hungry. Once again, as you can notice, in French, we are not hungry, we have hunger. For example, les enfants ont faim. Les enfants ont faim. The kids are hungry. And don't let the spelling intimidate you. I understand it can be pretty scary. Even to us French, the spelling of this word doesn't make much sense. But basically that A-I-M, that whole thing is pronounced un. Un. So it's a nasal sound. It's like number 1 in French. Un. Avoir faim. So remember, in French, you are not hungry, you have hunger. Okay, try to visualize it. It's like you have that little creature inside of your stomach, you have it, literally, and you better feed it fast. Alright, you got that one? So let's move on to the next one. Avoir soif. Avoir soif. To be thirsty. Again, we use the verb to have in French. We have thirst rather than being thirsty. For example, nous avons soif. Nous avons soif. We are thirsty. You see, very easy. You just apply the same pattern as the previous verbs. Right, so the next expression on our list you must absolutely know because we use it all the time. Avoir besoin de. Avoir besoin de. To need. Okay, so in French, we don't have a single word to say that. You need that 3-word phrase to say that. Avoir besoin de. Literally, to have the need of. For example, vous avez besoin de vacances. Vous avez besoin de vacances. You need a vacation. A common mistake I see with my students is that they tend to remember the word besoin, but they forget about avoir. So it is essential that you use avoir because it's the verb. The word besoin itself doesn't work. It's not the verb. Okay, so you remember always the three elements. Avoir, besoin de. Okay, now let's take a look at expression number 7, avoir peur de. Avoir peur de. To be afraid of. Again, you see why it's very easy to make mistakes, because when in English you say to be afraid of, in French we have the fear of something. And the reason behind that is because of the way the English and the French language conceptualize those ideas. In English, we consider that hunger, cold, fear, etc., they are things that describe you as a person temporarily. You are like that. Those are your characteristics. Whereas in French and in many Latin languages, we consider that you own, you possess those things temporarily, but they don't define you. That's why we choose the verb avoir rather than être in this case. So let's go back to what we have right now, which is peur. Avoir peur de. For example, elle a peur des araignées. Elle a peur des araignées. She's afraid of spiders. Elle a peur des araignées. All right, let's continue with the next expression, which is avoir envie de. Avoir envie de. To want or to desire. Of course, we have a verb in French to say want, which is vouloir, but the expression avoir envie de is also very common, so you must absolutely know it. And it's very easy to make a connection with the English word envy, even though the meaning is slightly different. Here it's not about wanting what others have, it's simply about wanting something. Okay? So for example, il est tard. J'ai envie de dormir. Il est tard. J'ai envie de dormir. It's late. I want to sleep. All right, let's continue with expression number 9, avoir raison. Avoir raison. To be right. For example, tu as raison. Le français, c'est facile. Tu as raison. Le français, c'est facile. You're right. French is easy. Do you agree with that? Oui? No? Okay, right. In that case, we need to move on to the last expression on our list, which is avoir tort. Avoir tort. To be wrong. Okay, please note that the final T is silent. Like very often with the final consonant in French, we don't pronounce it. Avoir tort. Fun fact, it actually has the same origin as the word torture. Yeah, I know, that's crazy. But that can help you to memorize it. Try to keep in mind that if someone is wrong, he might get tortured. Okay? But don't worry, we don't want anything bad to happen to you. Or do we now? Anyway, let me give you a little example. Pourquoi j'ai tort? Pourquoi j'ai tort? Why am I wrong? Alright, so if you're still here watching this video, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to subscribe or to check out my other videos. You will make one very happy Frenchman. And trust me, that's very hard to do. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt.